FS Securities. We are an education and information firm on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And every Monday morning I go through what happened into the financial markets around the world and try to forecast what we may see this coming days or weeks. I'll show you how investors and traders can make money on any markets. I'll show you what is hot and what is not, what you should hold and what you should fold. And by the way, if you have any particular feedback you would like to give us, so please review it, rate it and share it. Okay, in terms of what happened on Saturday morning, you can see here week changes. And on Saturday morning, we've seen the market in America was up. You can see the Dow was up 115 points, 0.4%. The S&P 500, 0.8%. The Nasdaq, 1.5%. But you can see that the week before, we finished the week before last with all negative on the market in America. But the week before was actually very positive. But look at the index. 26,680, we're still below that level. The Nasdaq, the star performer, was 10,767. Well, we are almost there now. And by the way, thanks to the 1.5% rise on Saturday. Well, that's on the back of Apple, the stock going up by 10% over the week. Now in Europe, the Stoxx 50 index, which comprises most major European markets, was down 1%. The FTSE was down 1.5%. That's on Saturday. That's the whole week, at the end of the week. The DAX finished with 0.5% down. And in China, the Shanghai index was up 0.4%. But you can see here, after 3% 3 weeks ago, rising by 4.4% 2 weeks ago, and just a small rise. So overall, 4,695, well below what it was 3 weeks ago. Our market, well below the 6,000 that we've seen at the end of 3 weeks ago. And obviously we've seen a major hit on Friday. On Friday, our market dropped by 123 points. That's nearly 2%. Again, the concern about the coronavirus, and also the various manufacturing sectors around the world. And the market, if you believe the futures, the market most likely will open very flat this morning, Monday morning. Okay, and that will still be below the 6,000 level. So it depends on the information we're going to receive. We got some information coming from in the market sometime this morning. I'll go through that in a minute. Gold, all-time high. If you remember in 2011, it was 1,923 and that was the all-time high. Well, we've exceeded this level. 19 points higher over on Friday. And the week before, the market was up $7.50. So you compare between one week to another. This is actually daily movement. I'll show you the weekly in a minute. That's nearly $100. So the market last week for gold was extremely good, and the same thing for silver. 23, almost 23 to 24. That's very close to, I don't know, 7-8%, 9%. Copper 286, well below what it was before. You can see the decline in the manufacturing industry. Brent oil and West Texas crude oil very steady over 3 weeks, and soybeans well below the $900 US per bushel. Look at the Australian dollar, 71.4 US cents, higher than last week and much higher than the week before. And also, however, weaker against the euro and weaker against the British pound, as you can see. And the reason why the Australian dollar is stronger against the US is because the American market, the American dollar has actually been hit very, very hard over the last couple of weeks. And that was actually on the back of the strength of the euro as well as the strength of the British pound. We were talking here about the US monetary baskets, which include 7 different currencies. Okay, well, here we've got the charts, that's the weekly for the Dow and the daily for the Dow. And you can see after the major drop from the high early in the year down to about February, March, when the market dropped quite a bit from nearly 3,000 down to 18,000, and then very quickly recovered, actually all the way back to the 50% retracement, and then got stuck around the 50% retracement, that's from the high to the low, and hanging there around there for a while. That's the weekly chart. Then started to zoom up, higher high, higher lows, and then now it's stuck above the 61.8 retracement value. And will it go back to 29,568 before the November election? Well, you never know what Trump is likely to do with the various stimulus packages and cut the interest, the tax rate for employees. So anything is possible. However, it doesn't look at this moment that Trump is likely to win the election. And if we get closer and closer to November, and it's determined beyond any question that Trump will lose, that we must see the market dropping maybe back to the 50% retracement. So you need to be aware of that. Now on the daily basis, daily chart, you can see that the market actually was up and down all the way, and then right at the last hour the market managed to recover from all the way low to going and finish higher. However, if you look at the weekly, we still finish where we opened, and that candle, lower high, lower low, compare the candle before to the final candle, lower high, lower low, that's bearish. However, the fact that we have here opening and closing at the same level, that's reasonably bullish. So there is a lot of conflicting indicators. The 9-week over the 21-week, that's the orange versus the black dotted line, that's bullish. However, the stochastic is bearish, and then we've got the parabolic stop and reverse, again that's bullish. But you look at the daily, the parabolic stop and reverse bearish, stochastic bearish. You can see now the 9-day converging inward towards the 21-day moving average. That is actually a bit of a worrying situation. All right, and by the way, look what happened over, if you want to see what happened the last 2 hours in the market, you see this is a 5-minute chart. Those candles here, they represent 5 minutes. And the last 2 hours, the market went from nearly 26,080 all the way to 26,428 only in the last 2 hours. That was actually around the 4:15 p.m. Queensland time, or sorry, I should say that's that was actually Queensland time in the morning, and at the closing, which was around 6 o'clock in the morning, the market was much higher. So nearly in an hour and 15 minutes, the market jumped nearly 300 and something points. So why is that so? I think Apple had a bearing on it. Apple rose by 10% in the last week. All right, well now in our market, this is actually the ASX 200, our market gauge. And we actually, from the high to the low, the retracement, we went up to the 50%, and very quickly we rose above it, and we are stuck between the 61.8 retracement and the 50% retracement, and we continue to be in this area for quite some time. So I mean, if it continues in that pattern, 5,800 most likely, or close enough to it, will be the support, and the 6,160 will be the resistance. If it breaks above it, well, we hope to get higher. If it goes below the 5,800, we might see the 5,500 in a very short period of time. And look at the candle on Friday. This is actually a daily chart. So actually over, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, nearly 3 weeks, we've seen the lowest in 3 weeks. And the stochastic is bearish. The parabolic stop and reverse, that's the red dot, for the first time it actually moved from below the candles to above it. The 9-day moving average, that's the orange line, still above the 21-day moving average, that's still bullish, but the candle closed below the 21, that's also very bearish. Okay, now we move forward. This is the mechanical system that we have designed, looking at the various charts. And for the investor, we look at the monthly and the weekly. And the weekly has to confirm the indicators on the monthly. For the conservative trader, the daily chart offers you 5 out of 8 indicators, and they have to confirm the direction of the weekly. So you see, we always look at 2 time frames, and the lower time frame has to confirm the longer time frame. And we always look at 5 indicators out of 8 as a minimum. Of course, the more than 5, the more bullish or bearish you have. All right, well, now in the Dow, even though it shot up on Friday, we can still see for the very aggressive trader, those people who trade in and out of the market every day or every second day, we are bearish on the Dow. That's weekly. It doesn't change. That will only change on Friday night or Saturday morning this week. So they will stay exactly as they are. However, on the daily, they change every day. So on Monday morning, we started with bullish, but very quickly during the week, we started to show bearish. So that's Saturday morning, Friday morning, Thursday morning, and prior to that, obviously, we have previous days. So we started to be bearish in the middle of the week as the latest. It could have been earlier. However, the Nasdaq turned very bullish because of what we've seen the last couple of days. Okay, gold continues to be bullish for a long time. We've been very strongly bullish since Monday morning last week, and we continue to be very bullish today, this Monday morning. And the same thing with silver. Crude oil, we've gone from bullish in the middle of the week to bearish. And the Australian dollar, we continue to be very strongly bullish. And that's about it, I guess. That's the euro versus the US, very strongly bullish. And the British pound is very bullish against the US, and that really represents, this is actually the DAX, the American dollar basket of currencies, which includes obviously the euro, the British pound, the yen, and various other currencies, the Swiss franc and more. All right, now in terms of, this is actually our weekly performance. What we offer you this morning, the XJO, very aggressive trader, bearish. ANZ, we continue to be bearish. CBA, bearish. Suncorp, bearish. Westpac, bearish for the very aggressive. Now, Newcrest Mines, we are bullish this morning, exception conservative trader, we started to turn slightly neutral. So if you are a conservative trader and you trade from 1 week to another week, maybe it's time to take some money out of your profit. You don't have to close everything, but you need to actually take some profit because we've turned from bullish to neutral. And by the way, getting very close to 2,000 US per ounce for gold maybe can actually show a little bit of resistance around that level. Suncorp, very bearish this morning, and so is Transurban. Wesfarmers, very strongly bullish, and Woodside Petroleum, very bearish as well. And CIMIC, that's the old Leighton Holdings, extremely bearish as well. And this is what happens over the last 2 weeks. You can see Woodside Petroleum over 2 weeks was down 3%. Wesfarmers were actually over 2 weeks were slightly up, not much. That's 1 week change, that's 2 weeks change. Newcrest Mines, 7% higher over 2 weeks. Maybe time to take some profit out. And the banks have been bearish, as you can see here. ANZ bearish, 3% down. CBA, 2% down. NAB, 2.4% down. And Westpac, nearly 4.5% down. So be aware of the banks. Okay, now in terms of daily recommendations, that's what happened on Friday. Everything was down 123 points, down 2%. And the week before, sorry, that's the day before, we were up 45 points, but that's all absorbed by the 123 points. And again, in terms of daily recommendations, CIMIC bearish, Suncorp bearish. Again, you've seen that on the weekly, and these are the day before and day before. Okay, we look at volume. We like to see at volume because volume tells us exactly what's happening in the market. On Friday, 43% of all the stocks were down and 21% advanced, and the market and the volume was slightly higher. Okay, in terms of advances over declines over the last 5 days, you can see here declines exceeded advances. But you know, if you look at the 5 days before, the advances exceeded declines. If you put all of this together, you'll find that over the whole period, over 10 weeks, the advances are almost slightly above the declines. That's, by the way, the declines and advances together. Right. Okay, now in terms of what we've seen on Friday, everything was down, so everything was negative, so nothing really exciting here. The exception is you can see that Westpac 3.2%. All these companies, maybe we can go bearish or can actually short them on the CFD market, and these are the 2 days before. Okay, announcement today. Well, we've just seen perhaps the ARG manufacturing index. I haven't got that figure yet. And at 11th o'clock, the inflation gauge. Inflation last period was 0.6%. I would not be surprised to see that inflation will be negative, obviously. And job advertisement, I don't know exactly, but 42%, and that could be lower this morning. We also have some record from China, some figures from China coming out, the manufacturing PMI, and also in America tonight, the final manufacturing PMI, to show you how much activity there is in the market. Okay, announcement already given us some results. In the US overnight, on Friday, Saturday morning, the price index was 0.2% as expected. Personal spending was slightly higher than what was anticipated, 5.6% rise in spending. That's month on month, but the month before was 8.5 in comparison to the month before, but maybe the month before was actually very little spending. Personal income was down 1.1%. They're not getting enough money in their pocket. Chicago PMI better than expected, and consumer sentiment slightly below what was expected. Okay, we look at we scan the market in terms of volume and see which stock had more volume over 50 weeks. We work out the average over 50 weeks, the moving average, and we compare the last week volume with the moving average. So Sonic Healthcare, the price only went slightly up, so really very basic. It hasn't moved from one week to another, but the volume last week was higher. Maybe we will look at Sonic, I don't know. In terms of nothing on the downside for the top 50. In terms of weekly movement for the mid cap, this company, the price was up slightly 0.5. The volume was nearly double, more than double. Nick Scali, the price went up by 6.7%, and the volume was 44% over the week, that is, over the average. And LSE Gold, 1% higher in the price, not really a great deal, but 23% higher in volume. Monadelphous, down nearly 8% with 26% rise in the volume over the week. Now we look at the daily volume, and we can see nothing in the top section here, but on the bearish side, IAG dropped by 1%, and the volume was 123% above the average. This is actually the 50-day moving average, 6.9 million, and in actual fact, On Friday, we've seen nearly 16 million transactions. So people were actually dumping on a bad day on Friday. IAG has been on the radar for bearish trades for quite some time. And Nick Scali appears here again on the daily. It had actually on Friday, that's actually what happened on Friday. The previous slide, we showed the increase over the week, but that's thanks to only Friday. That's where the price has gone up. Okay, Monadelphous again, the same thing on a daily basis. All right, now our disclaimer. Everything we said to you today is only for general advice only. We don't know your financial circumstances, so before you trade, please consult with us or with your professional advisor. Remember, there is risk in the market and there is absolutely no guarantee, and you need to understand your own risk appetite. All right, if you have any questions, obviously you have to ask. And if you have to ask, well, these are our details. You write to me at George@FS. FS stands for full service. George@FS Securities. 2 S's here. fssecurities.com.au. You can send me a text if you're sending me a text from overseas or you're calling me. 6161 is the country code. You don't need the 0. 61-411-259526. For those people in Australia, anywhere in Australia, you text me or you call me on 0411-259526. Okay, good luck and happy trading, and I hope you make some money.